Hey everybody, Mayor Cam Guthrie here, and I'm here today with another special guest that I would really love Guelph to get to know a little bit better, not only her, but also the organization that she represents. Our special guest today is Patty Broughton, and Patty, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Patty, you've been involved for many years in regards to the arts and culture and the promotion of arts and culture within the community. You are here officially, I guess, representing what?
I'm here representing Guelph Arts Council from my home, of course, my spare room here. But yes, I've been with Guelph Arts Council since 2015 as executive director, and it's been an absolute pleasure. The arts community in Guelph is amazing.
It really is. And if anyone thinks I'm saying that just because I'm the mayor, they'd be wrong. It really is. So thank you for your leadership and the board and all volunteers. And I mean, just everyone that's involved, not only with the Guelph Arts Council, but everyone that really keeps the arts and culture alive in our city. And we are a well-known city for all of that. That's for sure. But the Guelph Arts Council plays a critical role really within our city. And I was just wondering, can you just very quickly kind of give us a little bit of highlights of some of the things that the Guelph Arts Council really does? And we can get into sort of the impacts of COVID, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on today. But in general, what are the overall themes and principles and mission and vision of the Guelph Arts Council for Guelph?
Sure. Well, at the Arts Council, we feel that arts and culture are absolute pillars of a vibrant community. And we exist to support the creative community in Guelph. We do that through communications. So a lot of being that sort of connector between artists and people in Guelph, so that they can get to know each other, and people in the community can support the arts, and artists can find new audiences. So the other thing we do is professional development. So resources for learning is a big piece of what we do,
Mm-hmm.
mentorship workshops, all those types of things. And then we also spend quite a bit of our time trying to create opportunities. So through public programs, for example, things like, art on the virtual street, exhibitions that we have at 10C Shared Space, and many other
Yeah.
programs.
Yeah. I want to personally thank you, and really the arts culture community should really be thanking you. You were involved um, quite a bit with a lot of destination next tourism opportunities over the past few years of really defining how to bring and draw people to Guelph. And you were also involved with the mayor's task force on the economic recovery and the roadmap on how we can respond to COVID. And that really, as I said earlier, leads me into sort of some next questions. And that is, I just want to tell you my personal take, and then I'm going to tell you something I read today. So it's kind of timely that we had this interview already scheduled. My personal take is that the arts and culture is really struggling. It's really hurting through this last year. And a lot of people, I've been hearing a lot of banter back and forth. Oh, I wish I could go to these massive concerts. And I'm talking like massive ones, right? Like the ACC Center or something where there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And we think of that, but we forget sometimes it's just the little concerts, these living room concerts that lots of artists do, little pubs or other areas in the city where people can be able to play. And those, of course, have gone by the wayside over almost this last year. And so I've been really hearing it from a lot of my musician friends and others in the community that are really struggling. Now, beyond my own opinion, just today I read and I don't know if you've seen it, Patty, but there's a poll that came out today from Abacus Research. It was released this morning that indicated sort of the community, the public at large, their thoughts about going back to live music and how the music industry is really hurting, especially in Ontario. And the poll, and I maybe I'll just actually post it here underneath our link so everyone can see it. Really shows that there is this huge pent up demand to get back, and there's this commitment from the public to come back. They want to come back to live music and be able to go to these types of events. But there's also, it also shows the hit that the artists are really taking over this time. What have you heard in your capacity as the executive director? What are the impacts that COVID has really shone a light on this past year for you and all the people that you work with?
Yeah, I mean, what you're referring to is absolutely true. Like the impact on artists of COVID was massive and immediate, and it's there it's still very much felt and will continue to be for a period into the future as we recover from this pandemic.
Yeah,
We think about all of the things that artists are engaged with so often, live music, live arts shows, exhibitions and sales, even like teaching and learning opportunities, delivering workshops and those kinds of engagements that artists are involved with. So much of it involved live experience,
yeah,
and so as you can imagine, the need to kind of shift to deliver in different ways was extreme, and yet it doesn't always translate perfectly well for everyone. For some people it works out okay, and for other people it's a struggle because the kind of income replacement that's available through digital sources is not always there for everybody.
yes,
Things like tip jars and things like that are awesome, but it's not something that works for everyone. And the same with visual arts. It's some people's work sells more readily online, and some things you really need to see in person. So
yeah,
it's been definitely a challenge, and maybe a little bit ironic in a way that the arts have been such a big part of what has kept people going in the pandemic. People have really looked online to artists for sometimes just distraction, but also perspective and ideas and
sure.
entertainment and learning. Like people have picked up all kinds of creative pursuits in the pandemic, but that doesn't necessarily translate to income for
That's
artists.
right. That's right.
Yeah, so it's definitely a challenging time, and there's things that people can do to support their local community.
Yeah, and I mean, and I know that you know this, but maybe for some of the people that are just joining right now, it's tough for the municipal level of government to sort of help with any type of these types of things. We have definitely done that as best as we can, but sort of direct help to artists and things like that normally would come from, especially the provincial government or the federal government. And I have heard quite a bit of talk about really a lack of supports actually coming from other levels of government to really help artists and musicians and whatnot through this time. So that's why your role and the Guelph Arts community role and the council is so vital right now, and why we need to shed a light on it. And I was talking to you, I think it was it was last week, and I was bouncing some ideas off you, and you were definitely more educating me on some things that the community can maybe look at doing. And so what I would love to kind of end with is two things. One is, what could the community do? And then the second one is, what are you doing in your organization right now as well to help out communities, help out the artists? So one of the things that you taught me a little bit was around that tip jar. And I remember talking to you about that, is that, hey, could we have artists, play online like a lot of them are, and then people could just leave the tip jars or whatever, leave $5 or $20 or $50, whatever they want. And you really made a point that those are great, those are wonderful, but it's never a guarantee. And really, there are some artists where that can work, but there's lots of other artists or full bands, whatnot, that can't have that, or not in the music scene, other artists, that tip jar doesn't really work. So what kind of ideas can we have to help those types of people?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think, we represent all different types of artists at Guelph Arts Council right across the disciplines. Definitely, for musicians and performing artists, keep in touch with what's happening in your local community. right? Like the Arts Council, we have very active social media. We have an e-newsletter that's easy to sign up for on our website at guelpharts.ca. And just staying in touch with those channels is a great way to find out what's happening in the Guelph area and to support the artists who are doing online concerts or
Yeah.
if you a lot of people are doing online shopping these days when they're at home, and I mean, why not shop local? Why not support local artists who, if you are looking for something to, we spend a lot of time at home, so these days, so why not support local artists in your decorating for your home through the purchase of artwork or
Yeah. Yeah.
gifts for your family and friends. Think about supporting our artists. And there's lots of sort of resources like Guelph Studio Tour or the Art on the Virtual Street site or even the Arts Council's website where you can find out who those folks are. Also through, our e-news, social media, and so on. And yes, I mean, a lot of people are being very creative about their Zoom get-togethers and
That's
hiring
right.
yeah, like hiring a musician or a performing artist of some kind to join you for could be a corporate event, it could be a family event,
Yeah.
and just it doesn't cost a huge amount of money, and the Arts Council is, if you're not sure who to hire, we can certainly help out with that. We've
Yeah.
sort of like building a roster of artists who are available and interested for those types of things. So we'd be happy to say, oh, this person sounds like a good fit, kind of thing.
Yeah, so you're that conduit, between sort of the idea, and you can help bring people to sort of match in a way what might be the best for whatever event someone's trying to do. And I'm glad you mentioned the corporate side because again, last week I never really thought of that, but you brought it up to me, and that's something I would really like the community to think about. As much as we're all, thinking about, oh, we love to go to a concert or we love to have someone play in our home or whatever. It's a great opportunity for the business community, especially if you have someone or a place of work where, let's say there's, 10, 15, 20, lots of employees, 100 employees or more, and you would love to kind of give back as a something to your employees. As the employer, you could, maybe hire someone for an hour to do a concert just for your employees. And that's the type of thing that you can try to connect people with a little bit. And you mentioned your website, you mentioned your newsletter. So why don't you tell everybody what your website is?
So our website is guelpharts.ca, and through that website you can find our social media channels as well, which are very active and get a lot of engagement. One of the things that we're doing right now is a little campaign on Instagram called Art at Home, and that's something artists can submit either by tagging us in their stories or by emailing us just kind of what they've been working on while they've been at home. And it's quite interesting. It's a great way for the community to see a little bit of an inside view into
Yeah,
the creative
kind of a
process,
peek
right?
behind the curtain a little bit,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
what have you guys been doing, so yeah, that's great. um and I mean, really, you just kind of answered the last question that I had was what are you doing now? So you're promoting this sort of peek behind the curtain opportunity for artists on Instagram. Is there anything else right now that you want the community to be aware of?
Yeah, sure, since I have the chance.
Yeah.
The Guelph Arts Council is so grateful to the Canada Council for the Arts because we received a grant to develop a digital cultural hub.
Oh, that's
So,
right, you told me about
yeah,
that.
like
Yeah.
as you know, artists and organizations both have been having to shift online like never before.
That's right.
And our old website just hasn't been up to the task. We had to create a new website, kind of a little bit of a stopgap solution. And we
Okay.
applied for this grant in order to support artists and connecting with new audiences online. So, thanks to the Canada Council for that. And we're also just, as we have been in the pandemic, trying to reach out, doing a lot of outreach to diverse artists in the community to to
Sure.
invite them to get involved. So I'd really just like to put it out there to email me or connect with our social media channels. If you're an artist in the community and you'd like some support, we can kind of advise artists on their particular situation and what their goals might be, what their needs are. And certainly in the digital space, we're going to be doing a lot of engagement as we build this new site. So it's an exciting time, and my email is executive director at guelpharts.ca, and also administration at guelpharts.ca are probably the best ways right now in the pandemic to reach us very easily.
I'm glad you mentioned there, thank you, at the end about it's not just the community looking to you to kind of connect with artists, but you did sort of a call out to say, hey, if you're an artist and you're not involved with us, you need to be able to feel free to see the resources and the help that you can get with other artists within your organization. So that makes a lot of sense too. I mean, as we said at the very top, Guelph is very known for our arts and culture, and in fact, we do attract them to our city. So some of them may be new, some of them may be thinking about coming here. This is an added benefit, the Guelph Arts Council, to the reasons why to be here, but they should definitely plug themselves in. So it's not just you to the public, but it's also you to the artist as well. And so that's a very good point to leave on. Again, your website one more time for everybody.
Guelpharts.ca.
Perfect. And I guess the only thing that I would say to the community is, Patty is so right. We're doing a lot of buying online. And at the same time, you hear me and others say, support local, support local. And we often talk about small and medium-sized businesses. And of course, that's really important. But at the same time, we can't forget about, and Patty said it very, very well, one of the pillars that really is a foundation of our community, not only on the financial side, the environmental side, or the social side, it's the culture side as well. That's a pillar, and we can't forget about supporting local when it comes to that pillar as well within our community of arts and culture. So please look into seeing ways in which you can commit as a family, as an individual, as an employer, to maybe look to support our arts and culture through the Guelph Arts Council here. There's lots of resources there. So Patty, thank you for this time. I really hope that it really shines a light on what your organization does, and in turn shines a light onto the artists that really need our support as well. And even better than a light is some cash that goes in the wallet as well. So I hope our community does that. Any last comments from you?
I think that's it, Cam. Thanks so much for having me today.
All right. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you very much. See you later.
Bye.